Lethal Tempo's back on the menu, boys, because now, I don't know why it's back, it just is. Master Yi is gonna absolutely love this rune. Yone, Yasuo, all these champions are loving this rune. ADCs are running it, and the thing is, right, you get 5% attack speed boosted 6 times. It's a 30% attack speed boost on a champion that has a 4-hit passive over here. You see this right here, it's a second attack dealing extra damage. And also, when you have things like a cooldown refund in the ultimate mechanic, and you have your alpha cooldown reset, you're looking at something that really is going to do a lot of on-hit damage. So, let's see what Master Yi can do. Runes were on your screen. Well, we kind of talked about that already. Treasure Hunter's still good. Yone obviously on the top side here taking Fleet in the longer lane. That does make sense, obviously. You can go lethal in both lanes. It really doesn't matter. Yi is now going to be pathing down. And we have here Jin Lux. So this is not exactly like one of those juicy lanes where you look at it and you think, I need to cut up and gank. And we have seen Master Yi's over time, recently, try some cheese invades and such things. But now Master Yi's gone back to the, well, I don't need to do that because, well, I'm Master Yi and I scale like a Lethal Tempo and the on-hit is outrageous. Let's see what we do in this new itemization world because everybody's changed their flash for flash. Make sure when you pathing down that you F key and actually look at this. You should not need to watch your stick figure body auto-attack Grom's cheeks. You can if you want, but you might miss data. Like, all of the sums being burned. See, like this you should see. As you're kiting here, you should see that the Jhin has no barrier. And with the bottom lane meta, having this barrier spell do a lot of work. It's important you actually recognize, you know, when it's used and when it's not. I'm seeing a lot of junglers in coaching actually go for dives here level 3, even Elise's, thinking that barrier is gone, then it isn't. Of course, if you need added help understanding when to dive, and when to play around losing lanes like this one, you gotta head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. Right, we come on down to the river to channel our meditate. I mean, you got a couple seconds, you might as well channel and heal, but who says no? Remember, the first short bit of that W has a 70-second damage reduction, and then it drips down to 40%. Right here, you see that, 0.5 seconds. Should have given you those details. Now, this is obviously normal stuff. You see the Lee Sin, he's gonna gank the top side here. You know there's no sums at the bottom lane. You just need the Pike to hit this hook. Hit the hook, son. Hit the hook. The Jhin goes for the root to try and stop it. The Lux then chain CCs him. He's then gonna go in there and actually get just an assist. And the exit point of that Q being it something you can choose now, incredible change for the quality of life of this champion. Lee Sin also seen on the top side. Keep your eyes up while you do this. You shove the wave. You can look here to, you know, bite off a little bit more, but here's the thing for the majority of you players. You see the Lee Sin sag off down into this bush here, right? We see this. Now, a lot of the time, this wave will need to be pushed. You might want to help out. Obviously, you're not going to have an Aurora, but you help out shove. Then the Lee's going to path on down or sit in the bush and go back to base. But if you are the Yin, you see the Master Yi down here, remember, the respawn of the Krugs will be at around 4:17 to 4:22. I said 4:17 because it's up, but usually around 4 minutes 20. Can be a little bit less depending on the champion. So if you're the Master Yi here, by forcing this plate gold, by forcing this dive, you're inviting the Lee to steal your Krugs. And in most cases, in Emerald and Diamond and Low Master, you're gonna have your Krugs be stolen. And in Gold and Platinum and Silver, your Krugs will be stolen not because the enemy Lee Sin was tracking this, but because they just see you bot side and they walk here. It's gonna be incidental, but they will steal it away. You're gonna come up here and be like, well, shit. And now you cannot counter jungle because you don't know if the Lee Sin actually decided to go back to base to get his Krugs or to invade and steal yours. You don't know. And that's when overstaying for the plate here in the dive isn't my favorite thing to do unless it's a guaranteed execution on an ADC. And of course, we are always in favor of executing ADCs in game. So now, of course, Lee Sin shows down on the bottom side here. I don't know exactly what bro is looking for. Maybe the yellow brick road. We use our Q there to avoid spells, and that's always a big thing about Master Yi. You want to E in the Q to get the true damage, but at the same time, you got to time your Q to avoid spells that are going to hurt you. Beautifully timed gank there. Lee Sin wastes time here for no particular reason, and now is really late on his sequencing. So overall, what we're looking at in this particular game represents the meta. That's always the meta. Bot laners inting. Represents the meta in a healthy... see, this is where it's curious. Look at this. If you're a high elo jungler, please look at this. You know the Master is going to push this wave off and go down now. He's telegraphing that he's going to go to the Krugs. I don't like that telegraphing. Move down into the river. You see the Master here. Sorry, the Lee Sin here. You can see now by pressing tab that guy's done his Krugs, but he hasn't done his Raptors. That's a free Gromp for you. Now, I'm not necessarily saying you should 100% go on that versus just controlling your own sequencing. Look at the rest of your lane states, and that should be something you can mislead on. Even if you don't want to go for it because you think he might collapse in on you, mislead and then come back just purely because you want him to think you're going for it. And when he thinks you're going for it, he adjusts his pathing accordingly, and you're actually just free, full sequencing, Genki bot taking this, and you can give up the grubs, right? Especially for a mountain dragon. So those are the things, you know, I guess Diamond and Master, you really should be thinking about. I'm not telling you to do one thing or the other. In this particular case, I'm suggesting to think about it because you might actually have an opportunity here to steal the grub. In lower MMRs, if you're the Yi, and you do a full clear and all of this and you come up here, this is great. You see the Yi, you see the Lee do this. A lot of the times the Lee will just do the pike, literally, and then go ahead and do the dragon, which means you do get buff, 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 counter gank or gank again, reset, and now he won't go and do these counter junglings, the Lee Sin, because he doesn't know where you are until you show. And that's something you can think about. So the Orianna is way up in lane. Obviously, I mentioned the losing lanes at the beginning. That was more for the Lee Sin and anyone who has a Silas at 0-3-0. I will say, a lot of the Silases I have on my team end up really inting Oriannas. So, guys, ban it maybe if you really struggle. It just seems to be a thing. Here, this is interesting. Now, we've gone back to base, right? We assume that Lee Sin will be on the grubbies. Obviously, Mercy wants to focus on the grubbies. I feel like there's nothing wrong with guaranteeing your baseline econ, for sure. Like, that's exactly what we want to do in these situations. And we want to use that lethal tempo. Plus, now, of course, we're into the pickaxe and the recurve bow. We got another long sword. Yeah, you see. Oh, well, there you go. That's what we're waiting for here. Mercy doesn't flash, but yeah. Bro, there's no Krugs up, man. The tracking in this game is absolutely mind-god-awful. I think a lot of people, junglers as well as laners currently, are focusing so much on their item spikes and the feeling of these new items, they're forgetting to play their role with the same attentiveness they normally would, right? Because you're so used to straight up just walking around buying the same items, doing the same prior things, doing the same things, that you can think dynamically about jungle all the time. Versus in these situations, you're kind of figuring out what items do. As Marcy shows up and ganks mid lane. Now, can we go aggressive here into the jungle? He has not R'd. The Lee Sin will be coming to the bottom side. Do we feel strong enough to beat him? Question mark, question mark. Yeah, there's not a lot of counter jungling going on. I guess is the real thing we're noticing here. This is obviously a free dive if we think it is. We can R here. Remember, that's a 7-second boost. Slow resist, extra attack damage, extra attack speed, as you see here. And it also gets reset on takedown. Oh, calculated. There you can see that there. Not attack damage, movement speed. I'm sorry, ever since I had to accept the, this, I kind of losing IQ points at the top sometimes. I'll get them back, don't worry. Now, yeah, so I do think that he could have looked at potentially a dragon instead of resetting for the grub fight. You could have reset for the dragon, finished the grub, done the dragon, counter jungled here, ganked the bottom lane. The Lee Sin might counter jungle you here, but that's a trade you might want to make if you want to snowball a lane. In these situations, though, you do have winning lanes, so the job as a jungler can become quite finicky. By that I mean a lot of junglers who actually have winning lanes, AFK farm. They don't counter jungle, they don't apply pressure on the lanes, they don't dive, they don't control the objectives, and the enemy jungler like the Lee Sin here can just gank for free. The Yi is doing a very good job of saying, listen, you might be winning now, but I see a universe where you throw. I see a universe where you let the Lee Sin get fed. I see a universe where the Silas just gives up a lane. It comes to the bottom lane. Yes! See? Level 4 Pike. I mean, he is looking like the worst player in the game. And Marcy's like, well, let me loop back down here. Lee should, in theory, be on the top side. We got all this vision. So we know he's not on the bottom side. We also know there's no camps there. He knows that too. There he is. Confirmed Is this a triple kill with Blade of Ruin King? We do have ult available as well here. There's the R, there's the E, and now we can start auto-attacking and save our Alpha Strike for the mobility, which of course we use. We get the reset of another 7 seconds. We have true damage E up again. Can we get a range? We press the button. We Alpha to avoid. We can keep going. Auto-attack, auto-attack, auto-attack. You obviously have the animation cancel on your W. Not like the old days though. And then of course E into another Alpha Strike. And remember, attacks with that ultimate lower the cooldown of your basic abilities. That's a basic thing, right? That's not a, you don't need to press that button for it. It's just always there once you hit level 6. You see, champion takedowns reduce the remaining cooldown of most of these abilities. So getting those stitching togethers of your reset of your R, getting those kills stitched together to reset your R and get your abilities of cooldown, mega good. Now, in the meantime, Lee Sin has himself 1 kill. And Aurora is dead, so he is struggling a little bit more. But I think the biggest thing I can kind of show here is that the Master Yi 1-item spike, with this Blade spike here, obviously, with lethal tempo, is looking quite strong. But you got to get there. You got to get there with a certain attitude. By that, I mean, a lot of Master Yi still think it's like Season 10, Season 11. They just walk around farming, do this and war and do this again. This E was great. Full clear, scuttle, gank the bot lane, base, gank the top lane. Do this again. Full sequence, reset, contest. All right, now gank mid lane. Go into the jungle here, dive the bot lane. You know, loop back, gank the bot lane again, or on a repeat gank of the bot lane. So that's 3 ganks in the bottom lane. Huge for your snowball. Punishing the no subs because we F-keyed while clearing. That's a very active game plan. And while I said, look, there's not a lot of counter jungling in this particular game, that's fine too. You're really looking, as I said earlier, you're looking at the 2 options I have. Can I counter jungle in a lethal way, force Lee Sin to be somewhere, control objectives, or because I've winning lanes, so I just control my camps and just gank and destroy. Yeah, we saw the Aurora. I just wanted to go back a few seconds here because we got the bot lane mega fisting. And again, Jhin is very, very strong. Okay, there's the Aurora going in while we had that going. There's the Alpha Strike, the camo. Woof, not enough damage here. Lee Sin shows up to counter gank that one. And bot lane here is okay. Now we're going to say, well, Lee Sin, you're by yourself, buddy boy. Can I go in on this? He does hit that Q. We're waiting for that Q2. There it is. Keep auto-attacking Alpha Strike to avoid another auto-attack. And we do shut ourselves down. But it is known. Hey! Pyke did stuff. Anyway. All right, gold lead, 5K. Look, I know a lot of you feel like, oh, this is a stump. You know how many coaching classes I've had recently where someone's early game is beautiful and their laners are beautiful, and then they ask the question like, how could I make my early game look better? And I go through it, I'm like, it's great. Why'd you lose? You know, then we look at it and you just see the throws all the time. It's a really big thing because you could argue if you're a good jungler who dominates the first 14, and then you keep losing a lot of games that are free, you say, well, jungling doesn't matter anymore. Well, I understand why you would say that. But if you're playing a meta jungle, there's no reason why that pressure should stop, right? If you're playing off meta, there's certain time spikes, obviously, that are different. But in like a regular jungle like a Viego, if you're 5, 6, 7 kills at 14, why are you losing? Shouldn't be. Obviously, there are extenuating circumstances. But out of base comes Master Yeetus. There's the kick from the Lee Sin. He ward hops back over the wall because we have lane prior collapse. Now, from Lee Sin's perspective, we haven't really spoken about him, but when you're against a Yi like this, 40 minutes here, you know, our experience is a little low. We're going to try to get level 10 here, finishing off the Grubbies and the Scuttle Crab at 14. I don't know why there's this unnecessary contest by the blue team. This happens in high elo as well, and I get everyone's the Alpha Strike avoidance as Silas takes the Pyke ultimate. Backline Yona there, invisibility from the Aurora. We are level 10 at 14 minutes, down up 2 levels rather, on the Lee Sin. Yeah. So if you're the Lee Sin here, this is not what you want. Look, I understand you don't want to give the grubs up, and of course, by forcing this fight here, they don't get the grubs, right? Like, that's great. You don't want to give the Yi grubs, especially when he's this fed. The problem is, you're gonna have to. You want to take these camps, you want to do this, you want to kind of shatter your Jhin here maybe, kill the Ashe, shove up, get this bounty, shove this up. I call it the lopsided rule. Create a lopsided environment if you are the Lee Sin. And as Master Yi, if you're in a losing game, you can do the same thing, right? Just give up the objective here, snack these camps, control this obviously, gank this ADC, shove this up. They're going to go here most likely, but now look, they're at a tier 2 this way, you're at a tier 2 this way, but you're losing. So you win, right? That's catch-up gold. That's catch-up experience. That's everything you need to stay within touching distance of the victory. But because they contested this, they just snowballed that gold lead in the other direction. However, there's no FF because Sylas, Jhin, Lux, Aurora, outside of Lee Sin, this comp can do things. Wave clear, scales, picks, and we want to make sure we lean into that. So, Marcy comes out of base here. We have the Rage Blade completed. Full on-hit mega attack mode activated. We have the Lee Sin kiting out his camps and ditching his situation. Always make sure you do that if you are the losing jungler here. That is important. Lee Sin now, top side. Marcy, bottom side. Trapping. There's a dragon available. You don't... I don't understand the lack of discipline. You know they're all there most likely. They know they're looking to trap. The fog of war is basically Mordor. Just don't go there. As the ADC especially, but as anybody. If you know that they walked into this entrance and cleared vision, kind of take everything you can here as Lee Sin quickly. Quickly take everything, leave vision, and pull out again. Wait for them not to siege you, and wait for them to make mistakes and overcommit. That's the only way you do it. But, as always, what I was saying was, you can look for those picks. You don't need to force the dragons here because there's no ways that they're going to walk through this and get this dragon. If they do, you probably made a little bit of a mistake. Now, was los jetzt? That's so depressing when that happens. I usually drag it in the bush because I'm afraid of someone from over the wall. I wouldn't. But again, I play things that do get murdered on sight, so I have a bit of a different perspective than I think Lee Sin's and such things. But here we go. So out of base now we got the Zerkers, we have the Rage Blade, we have the Blade of the Ruin King, which end will still do us good. This is taking a while to close. I'm not seeing the movements, right? Like if you look from blue team's perspective, they're doing a solid job here of, apart from what the Jhin did, of just kind of chilling a little bit. There's the Ashe ult, boom, onto the Jhin. They're going to try and go all in the Yone. There will be a rotation. We see the Master Yi show up, we see the Ashe show up. She's level 11, Orianna's on the bottom side, no TP. That is something we can track here. But Lux is out of position, walking the wrong way. She will die to Yone. But the idea is okay. The idea is okay. From Master Yi's perspective here, guys, if you want to close this game out, don't overtly force. Let the map come to you. Push waves as they're pushable. Turret dive and kill turrets as they're available to be done. Just don't put yourself in a position where you might be a little bit compromised. Like that. Exactly like that. Do not do that. There's no reason to go into 3 people here when you've got Orianna bot lane, no TP. Now what you've done is you've given them a huge ass shutdown. Alright. Pyke is low and has to go back to base. Ashe has nothing to do here. Aurora can TP flank to Orianna. Tough one to do because Orianna. And now what they can do is just sit here and feast. And stall. And stall. And the more you do this, the more the team gets. Less your gold lead means. Now obviously the gold lead is still high up, but like imagine being in game, right? You're in game. Master Yi does this. You kill him. Shut down. You feel good. Because now you know that this guy's off the map. So what he's doing here is he's going for Krugs into the Raptors to sync up with his team, waiting for the Baron effectively. You've got to watch the waves, got to watch where your team is. Orianna, obviously, at this particular stage, has committed that TP. There it is on the top side. Join your team if you are the Yi, please. Or solo the Baron. I don't really do whatever you want. Not yet. There's the pick. Master Yi rotates. Herald is a little bit late. There it is. Whoa. Okay, careful. Always use your Alpha Strike. The Void, that's easy. We got the reset here. We got the flash to get the slow. We do get rooted by the Lux. That is something that happens. And then, of course, Sylas. It's that hook. We go back in here. Another Alpha Strike saves our lives. You can see here, as Master Yi, it's about the timing of your Alpha and understanding the reset of your R to get the passive going. Well, we just grabbed ourselves a bunch of kills. So Herald goes and does work. But as always, I'm not the biggest fan of everyone dying. There's a Yone bailing you out. Will your Master Tier Diamond Yone bail you out? No, they won't. Alright then. Still got a game on our hands. I mean, like, I know objectively that's a little bit of a hard sell, but again, when all your death timers are out of sync, and if you're not in high elo, that should concern you. because you're going to see the Yone do this. Now he's dead. Orianna is no TP, just respawning. Pyke is getting deep vision by himself. Ashe is pushing up the wave by herself. Mercy has just respawned. And all of this is caused by Mercy dying the first time. And now again, yes, he got 4 kills, but dying the second time. Your team will not wait for you. Unfortunately, you're quite self-sufficient here, and that's the most important thing. So, we have Wit's End. I feel like we can just kind of go for this and kind of draw them out a little bit. We are strong enough to handle things. We do have the silence on the bottom lane with no TP. 2 people mid lane, no stress. We only need 1 person to help us with this, really. If you see, you can just turn. Ashe arrows has not been the best. That does not pray, I can tell you that much. And because 2 people are dead, we have to respect the map a little bit. Dragon is available, but there's a bounty. Now imagine if we got the bounty earlier. From Yee's perspective, from Lee Sin's perspective. Why do I keep confusing their names? I just did a game where I think it was the other way around. 2 or 3 games ago. Reviewing. So I guess I'm just trapped in the past. Happens when you age. Free Dragon for us. Unnecessary contest. Look at the damage. And this is where Mercy, like 3 items, Lethal Tempo, Berserker's level 13 at this particular stage. Please look to just end the game. You don't need 4 or 5 items. You are so strong when you're this far ahead. Gold amounts. 12,000 gold. 2,000 ahead of anybody else in our team. You're 5,000 gold almost ahead of the Lee Sin. You are 2,000 gold ahead of the most fed member, the Jhin on the enemy team. Nothing can stop you. So yes, you can play like an assassin effectively. As long as you don't get CC'd and you play it intelligently. Obviously your bot lane are dead here, so this is like, do we go for this or not? Hello? R activated. Going into the Jhin, Alpha Strike to Fog of War, through the back there, auto attack kills Aurora. We've lost the vision. There's the ult from the Yone missing, of course. We go back into the back line, kill the Jhin here. Again, we get rooted, we channel our damage reduction. We have the movement speed reset back in the back line. E Alpha auto attack, you get the rhythm at this particular stage. Stats for Lethal Tempo. Max stack uptime, 72 seconds. Damage dealt, 1546. See, you get bonus adaptive damage on attack. This rune inherently is unhealthy and should not be in the game. I don't believe the systems of the game allow this to be something that is necessarily always good. Because Mercy on this is, as you can see, a little bit outrageous, but it's good on anybody, really. You're just not seeing people maximize their builds and the limitations of the rune just yet. But trust me, at some point, I feel like this will once again be something where people are going, Lethal Tempo again. You know, this is where you don't want to go back to your Raptors and your Krugs and such. Your team are looking to siege and actually dominate. Yeah, you got cash monies in pocket. Here's 2 schools of thought. 1, hey guys, we should all be basing and resetting and spending our gold. I have a lot of gold to spend. I'm going to do my quadrant and then, you know, shimmy on back to the shopkeeper and Boris, buy, and then we can end. But if your team are actively looking to end, and you can, which I do believe you can, I don't believe you need to spend this gold Death's Dance to survive. Just sync up and close it out, right? TP committed by Ori. Now we're on the red. Yeah, this is slow to close. And really, the game should have ended. You don't know this when you look at the match history. I was going blind. Just look at the data. Like, oh, you know, maybe 27-minute game, 26-minute game is decent here for the Yi. But really, it's about the lessons for yourself, as you can see here now. Lethal Tempo, Master Yi, on hit, 20 kills. And he did it with his very standard jungling. Full clear, gank, reset. Can I gank? Yes, full clear again. Then decide, do you want dragons? Do you want grubbies? Choose your fight, choose your objective. Do you want to then counter jungle and dive bot lane, or cut through gank bot lane? Mid lane and then gank bot lane? Rinse, smooth on the baseline of your clears, the baseline of what objectives you want. Take away the enemy jungler's options, and obviously you saw a few times be a little bit more intelligent about your overcommits, but Lethal Tempo. Let's go.